We have here the 1994 Bandai Premium Super Big Godzilla. This review was requested by some people on ACBA. So I'd just like to go ahead and get started here. As you can see, it's a very large figure. I'll tell you that I don't have the box that it came in originally. This was shipped from an independent seller, and in the process of getting shipped over here, the box got damaged. So I got a little bit of money off, but unfortunately I won't be able to show you the box. The box it did come in, though, was pretty large, and the figure came in pieces. As you can see right here, the figure is fairly large. A lot of people want to know exactly how big. So I thought I would just, measure it with some tape here, and we'll get the actual height of him. So I got a little measuring tape right here. We're going to do inches, and as you can see, from the bottom of his foot all the way to the very top of his head, he comes in at 24 inches, so that's 2 feet tall. Well, it's really more like, yeah, I'd say about 24 inches total. Now keep in mind his tail's a little crooked, so it's not going to be straightened out. It's got an arch at the end of it, so you can't really straighten it. But from the very tip of his tail to the back of his body, it's about 36 inches, so 3 feet. So what you have here is a 24-inch figure by 3 feet, which still is fairly large. Let's just go ahead and see how he compares to some other figures. You may recognize 8-inch Fing Fang Foam. He comes right about to the elbow of Godzilla. Kind of dwarfs him if you look at it. Let's get another one in there. The recent Marvel Universe Galactus, a little bit taller, and of course, his knees aren't all bent up like Foam's are. And Galactus, the tip of his helmet there comes right up to Godzilla's chin, or Godzilla pretty much towers over him. If you look down, and you can see how his head would be. So that's that one figure comparison. And if you're not into the Marvel figures and you're more of a DC person, I think the larger DC figures are either going to be Chemo or Giganta, and they come to about just up to his hips, where his hip joint comes in. Now, like I said earlier, this figure all came in pieces, so the legs weren't actually connected. My wife, when she surprised me on my birthday, she connected the pieces, so they actually didn't, in the box they were actually separated. They didn't come as one whole figure. Okay, well, let's take a little bit closer look of what this Godzilla figure is all about. If you can tell on here, his sculpt is, I think, pretty amazing. I know what they probably did is had like a mold or a cast. I don't know what type of plastic it is. It says vinyl plastic. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's like vinyl on a record or what kind of vinyl. But it's hard, and it kind of reminds me of that roto plastic that they talk about. Um, as far as articulation, he doesn't have very much. You got to realize this figure was made in the 90s. So you get about, as far as articulation goes, you get one arm that goes all the way around. Moves at the shoulder right there. You get another arm. It's got pretty much the same articulation. It's a little bit stiffer joint because it's got more elbow. I think I demonstrated a little bit earlier that both of the legs have articulation, but they're stiff right now. So, you know, you're only going to get a footstep. I mean, not much more than that. But if you're a fan of the movies, probably not a big problem for you because Godzilla didn't walk that much anyways. That's pretty much how he walked, you know. Just like that. So you get those points there. So far we're at 1, 2, 3, 4 points of articulation. 4 for all those that are counting. Then we move on to his back. It's got the little stegosaurus thing going on here. Check out one of these spikes here. They move. I'm going to count it as articulation, I guess. That one moves, so that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So far we're at 10 points of articulations, including the arms, legs, and the little spikes. I don't know why you'd need to twist those spikes around. That one's kind of beyond me. We move on down to the tail. The tail's kind of heavy, so it creates this little indention. You can just lift it up and it'll fix that. But the tail's got a point right here. It's got a huge joint. And it's got another one right there. So 11, 12, and then we got a little one here at the end, which gives us 13. So if you count the spikes, you get 13 points of articulation altogether. If you don't count the spikes, which is 7, so 7 points without the spikes. The sculpt on this figure is pretty rad. I'm fairly impressed with it. I mean, you just look at this thing and you know it's Godzilla. I think if you're somebody who's looking online and you're trying to find figures, chances are, you know, you're looking for a Godzilla and you're going to find something that's got like this generic looking T-Rex Stegosaurus mix. This figure right here, this is Godzilla. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you can just imagine him roaring right now. Now, I've been showing you a lot of front views. From the back, the figure just looks that much more awesome. I mean, you set your 6-inch figure back here at his tail, and it just looks like a giant. You know, I mean, that's Godzilla. So it's a really cool figure. When I said I wanted a Godzilla figure, I made it clear that I wanted it to be larger than any other figure I had, and I just don't see anything coming anytime soon that would be anything close. I know the Mattel Voltron is going to be coming in at 23 inches, but even then, you know, you figured the Voltron in total is going to be 23 inches. If you happen to come across this figure on eBay, you're going to be looking at some money. I mean, he doesn't come cheap. He may have came cheap years ago when he first came out. Not so much anymore. They're rare. They're not making them anymore, so you're only getting them used. I saw online that there was a Godzilla that came out recently that's a model, and it's supposed to be coming in at 36 inches. But from what I heard from other collectors is that he's not posable. He has no articulation. It's just a statue. I don't know if you can see this here. I don't think so. There's a little bit of writing. It says 1994, and then there's some symbols. I don't understand the language. And then in parentheses after the signals is SG. On the other foot, the right foot, again is Bandai 1994, and it says made in Japan. So I think that's pretty cool. Get you a little look at his tail. It's all ribbed and scaled. Like I said, I mean, the detail on the figure for that time is amazing. I don't have any figures right now that are out from that time period, but if you ever see any, I mean, it just doesn't come close to what you're getting with this one. So if you're wanting an articulated, movable giant Godzilla, I really don't know where you're going to find it. I think this figure is going to get you the most articulation for the size. I mean, it's just massive. I love this figure. It's one of the best presents I've ever gotten, and it's going to be the most prized figure in my collection for a long time. But if you get a chance to buy the figure, I'd recommend go ahead and picking it up. It's well worth it.